So today I'm going to be giving my full review on the new Versace Eros Energy. This might be one of the most highly anticipated releases of the year, primarily because there was a really slow burn on this one. And I just mean the amount of time between it being announced to the public and then actually becoming available to purchase. It was a span of several months, with a name like Energy and a bottle that's bright yellow like this. You just kind of assume that it's a summer scent, which it is, but we didn't really end up getting it until essentially kind of the tail end of summer, whereas it was announced sometime in the middle of summer. Luckily, we did get it just in time, and so even though it's kind of fall, we still had plenty of warm days to where I've been able to wear this one a lot. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get my full review out there now, give you kind of an idea if this is going to be something that you would want to try or not. And so I did my first impressions already when I first got it in. So if you want to see my initial reactions trying it for the very first time, go check that video out. Today we're going to be diving more into performance and a further breakdown of the scent. And another thing that I want to say really quickly before we jump into it is, got to give credit where credit's due. This is a very reasonably priced new release. Now, it retails for $115. That's not cheap, right? But just look at all of the other designer brands doing crazy high prices on parfums and elixirs and everything like that. This isn't a parfum, it's not an elixir, right? But it is a nice eau de parfum, but it's just not unreasonable, right? $115 retail is not all that bad. It's been hitting discounters now, so it's down to about $82 right now, and that's still after like a month or two of being released. So you can imagine, looking forward, it's going to continue to come down. Eventually, it's probably going to be a $50, $60 scent, hopefully, maybe even a bit less. So keep that in mind, when you're judging this one too. You can judge it at retail price, which isn't horrible, but when you really start to look at this as a $50 scent, not bad. So let's go ahead and jump into it. This one opens up with citrus, more specifically, a super punchy burst of lemon, like nothing I was expecting. Again, looking at the context clues, the name, the bottle, I knew it was going to be a summer-oriented, fresh, invigorating scent. And, looking at the note breakdown prior to smelling it, I saw all the citrus, right? So I kind of had an idea of what I was in for, but just this still took me off guard. I mean, it is a very punchy, strong, sour lemon. And I could say right off the rip, that's going to be something that not everybody will like, because we've seen something similar in style or more so in delivery to that. And I'm thinking more of Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Forever / Italian Love, where it's a super punchy grapefruit. So the type of citrus being used is different, but the focal point and the amount of intensity that it has is very similar. And Light Blue Forever, Italian Love, those were a little bit more polarizing, to say the least. And so going into this, that's something to keep in mind. This is really going to be for the citrus lovers. And so if you're not into something like that, it's immediately going to be a red flag for you. I like it, and it was a surprise in a good way. It really gets your attention. That particular part about this scent is going to make it a big head turner. And so for people who are looking to really stand out, to grab attention, to get compliments, having that amount of punch and vibrance is beneficial. Now, there is more to the scent than lemon, right? Even though that is kind of the primary part. It's more of a lemon-lime combination. Sour, punchy off the top. Now, as far as the other top notes go, they list off blood orange, grapefruit, mandarin orange, and bergamot, and lemon and lime. So I think all of those have a little bit of a relevance. Primarily, though, it's the ones that I mentioned already. Working your way into the mid-notes, they have pink pepper, white amber, and black currant. And in the base, we have oak moss, patchouli, and musk. I got to think back. I'll probably just look back at my old video, but I don't remember the note breakdown being that complete when I did my first impressions. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was, but I can't remember. I don't remember some of those, but they do make sense. And so one of the main things that you see this one get compared to is Creed Aventus / Mont Blanc Explorer. And at first I was pretty reluctant to that because smelling the opening, the lemon lime, that's not necessarily a Creed Aventus smell. Now, Aventus does have some kind of citric tendencies to it, more in the variety of a bergamot and a very prominent pineapple note, but not lemon lime, you know? And so off the very initial opening of this one, it doesn't really have a whole lot of an Aventus Mont Blanc Explorer smell to it. It's not until you start to work this one further into the mid and dry down that some of those characteristics come into play, primarily the woody notes, and so some oak moss and some black currant. Black currant's not a woody note, but it's kind of a sweet fruitiness. That comes into play. Oak moss comes into play. A little bit more of almost like a slight birchiness, a birch woodiness comes into play as well. That's where you would get some of your Aventus type comparisons. But again, I was working off of a first impressions, right? Pulled it out of the box, sprayed it on, and within 10 minutes, I'm telling you what I think of it. And within the 10-minute time frame of having this one on skin, not a whole lot of Aventus going on. But later on, after wearing it more and after publishing that video, I even left a pinned comment on that video, and I kind of gave an update where, yeah, then I was starting to see the Mont Blanc Explorer comparisons. And I reference Explorer in particular because Mont Blanc Explorer does have a little bit more of a tamed, watered down approach to Aventus. And I don't mean that in a negative manner, but it's just, it doesn't have the same type of punchy, bright pineapple, rather more of a bergamot focus, more of a light, almost watery, woody focus. It just doesn't have the same type of complex intricacies that Aventus has, and I wouldn't expect it to be having that for, you know, $40. And so more of a tame Mont Blanc Explorer type of scent is kind of what I was comparing this to. Still different in nature, primarily because of the lemon lime, which just doesn't really exist in the Aventus DNA, but that's kind of where it was. And so, you know, I think if you're looking at this as like an Aventus clone, that's not really something that would make a whole lot of sense. And there are so many other Aventus clones out there where get one of those. You could more look at this as like a very lemon lime heavy approach of something like that. But, you know, it just depends. Some people say it's kind of like Creed Aventus Cologne just because it's a bit lighter and fresher. Maybe a little, but still, again, just to keep harping on this, the lemon lime is so prominent that really steers it away. One of the things that is really unique about this one, though, is that it smells nothing like any of the other Eros fragrances. And to me, that's something that's pretty significant because it's not like they have a ton of flankers of Eros, but they have quite a few. You have the original, you have the Eau de Parfum, Parfum, and Flame, of course, now this one, but all of those prior to this smelled like Eros. They all maintain that Eros DNA. This one effectively smells nothing like Eros. They could have taken this, put it into a brand new bottle, sold it, and there would be no connections or ties to Eros at all. Now you're going to see some notes being shared. You could compare the notes of this to Eros Flame, some of the orange, some of the lemon, things like that. But that's a non-issue. Those just have no correlation as far as how the scent presents itself. And so again, I just think that's interesting, and it just kind of goes to show the power of flankers, because I've said this before with other releases, when there's no connection, you could just take this and create something brand new, a brand new line, but man, people are, they're tied down to their flankers. From a business point, it makes sense, but I don't know. And does it really make a difference if we're still getting the scent anyway? No, but it is kind of interesting to observe, especially when their track record so far has been Eros fragrance flankers kind of all smelling similar. And so I guess in one way that could be considered a good thing, because if you're not a big fan of the original Eros or Flame or the Parfum, Eau de Parfum, then you would have a good chance of liking this if you like strong citrus scents. So let's talk about performance now. It's an Eau de Parfum, okay? So it's nice that they gave us that, being that it's like a summer version, a freshie. You almost half expect an Eau de Toilette, but an Eau de Parfum, which is nice, okay? And it's not what I would consider to be beast mode as far as longevity is concerned, but as far as projection and making itself known, it holds up in that regard. So longevity-wise, about 7 hours on average. Now, that's going to be dependent upon many things. Every single person is going to get different performance, and also just, again, skin chemistry, hydration. What's the weather like? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it dry? Is it humid? There's a million and one factors that play into that. Don't take anything as the gospel. That's kind of common sense, but sometimes people don't know that. What the main thing that this one does do is project pretty good, and the more heat on this, the better. So like I said, I've had quite a few chances to wear this one here at the tail end of summer. Warm, sunny days are the best case scenario for this one because that heat from the sun is really gonna help this one open up. You know, typically eau de parfums will sit a little bit closer to skin sometimes compared to an eau de toilette. Not necessarily the case here. I find it to be a pretty consistent, strong projector. Now, it won't project that strong for the entirety of the scent. You really, within the first few hours, it's punchy, it's strong, and it's pretty loud. Once you get down towards the tail end, 5, 6, 7 hours and beyond, you're pretty much into skin scent territory. But man, for the first few hours, this stuff is obnoxious in a good way. It's not like crazy, but it really gets the point across. And, again, some people may expect more given that it's an aero scent, the eau de toilette in its prime, beast mode. The eau de parfum and parfum, really, really strong. Flame is pretty strong too. But again, this is nothing like those as far as scent. And given that it's so heavy on the top notes, you just can't really expect that same type of performance, and so we can't really hold it to that standard. One thing I will say, it is definitely stronger than Mont Blanc Explorer, which has kind of been a key factor that's being brought up here, a key comparison point. Yeah, it's a bit more expensive, but it is stronger too. So overall, my thoughts on Eros Energy, I like it a lot. It was still a curveball for me, even though going into it, looking at the bottle, looking at the notes, the name, I thought I had it figured out. I still wasn't expecting this. So I think that's cool. I was thrown off, and that's fun, right? Because when you smelled so many things and you've been around for so many new releases, when something still throws you for a loop, it's pretty cool. And I was not expecting the level of lemon lime sourness that this one gives off. I mean, it's crazy. Even just smelling the atomizer, the dry down effectively, it's still there. But trust me, when you atomize this one, it is just next level. So as I mentioned, it's a reasonably priced one. Retail for $115. Discounters, it's popping up for around $82 right now. Testers came in stock for, what was it? I think it was $60. I sent out an email and a text, immediate sellout. You can sign up to my mailing list down below and get notified when deals like that come up. And then I've also got samples of this over on our website, decantcenter.com. If you want to try before you buy, because if you're not quite sure, go check us out. I'll link it down below. We've got a big selection over there, adding to it every day, and just trying to offer a great service to allow people to discover things without spending an unnecessary amount of money. Because again, nothing is getting cheaper. Designer, niche, everything is it's getting expensive. And so if you want to know what all the hype is about on something popular, a sample would be the way to go. We've got free shipping over $49, free sample with every order, really solid rewards program. So if you shop with us often, you can redeem those points. It's just, from shopping to adding to cart to checking out, very seamless, easy to use website. We spent a lot of time on the website just trying to take out all of the unnecessary, annoying junk to make it just pain-free and easygoing. Let me know what you think of Eros Energy down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.